So I want to try to get part 2 of this video out because I just feel like, there is just a lot of, excuse me, there's a lot of processing, a lot of growth that needs to take place. And I really am one of those people who just like to get through their shit. So I share with my family what's going on, how I feel about what I feel. And I didn't realize that I was collapsing a timeline of lack, of poverty, I didn't realize fully that I would be becoming pregnant. I just knew that I was not using contraceptives. I would say I was in this rose-colored glass state of going through, sleeping with these men, interacting with these men, not really taking any contraceptive, not really thinking about my fertility and my ovulation windows. I was just, because I was so newly sober and I was still grappling with the reality of being back home and how to navigate life without weed and substance. And I do know that one of my addictive patterns is sex. So, and I really look at that as a self-harm thing. I talked about this in another video. I don't really like sex itself is supposed to be pleasurable and fun and fulfilling and all the things, but outside of a few instances, I don't think I've ever been just completely indulged with that energy. I don't care for it as much as I have indulged with it. And to me, not doing it for myself is a form of self-harm when I'm prioritizing the pleasure and the needs of others when I'm not really satisfied, I'm not really enjoying the moment. And even to go further, I can highlight some of those moments where I wasn't fulfilled at all. So I'm just laying there and allowing this person to just get all this pleasure, all this energy out from my experience. And I wasn't happy, and it was self-harm. Now, that is just me and my experience with sex in general. I can say that from some of the men that I did sleep with, the sex was immaculate. It was great. The sex between the two guys that I believe could be the twins' father was pretty decent. One was out of this world, what it was supposed to be. The other, it was good for what it was. Now, as far as me just being pleasure to the max, because I like a lot of things, no, that wasn't present fully in either one of those dynamics. Partially, but I could say more work could be done. So again, I wasn't really fully aware of what I was doing it for, outside of the fact that I was just honoring where I was and doing what I wanted to do. Wasn't really taking into account too much of anything. And I realized I should have been more grounded in my solitude, in my healing, in my sensuality for myself. If I wanted to be expressive in that way, do it for self, not for the pleasure of other people, not for the enjoyment or involvement of other people. And so that's where I feel like I put myself in a space to get pregnant, but I wouldn't say I did not want it, because so there's about to be two things can exist at one time moment, and I've always struggled with that kind of reality until I experienced it. So I knew that I didn't want kids because of just the physical labor of it all. And then I knew I didn't want kids. I didn't want to not have provisions for them and just struggle the way that I experienced my childhood. And so I really was in a space where I wanted to alchemize my situation with the first baby that I aborted. And so once I did communicate everything to my family, I was like, cool, I feel good. I know that the next time I'll be open to being more honest with what I need and what I want from the situation. So when I got pregnant again, I was so sad and so disheartened because I was not financially secure. I was not, and I didn't know who the baby father was. I was not in a marriage, a situation where it was stability. And I didn't want to have an abortion. So I had this conundrum. I don't want to get rid of the baby, but I don't want to do this alone. So I talked to my family about where I was feeling like I did before and let them know the situation. And so many moms, sisters, don't get an abortion. We know how you feel about that. We're okay with that. But at the same time, we want you to keep it. And we're going to support you. We're the daddy. And I, like a chicken head, went for the dope. And I don't even think that I would have gotten abortion had they not been there or did that. I think I just would have did what I'm doing now faster or sooner, but I don't want to think like that because timing is right on time. I needed that experience to fully initiate myself into motherhood in a way, into my womanhood, into my self-identity, where I stopped allowing other people to dictate the choices I make, and I stopped being so codependent and overly reliant on other people to do something that they never, like, all you have is your word. So they said what they said, but they fell off, they didn't do it. It is what it is. So I have to learn to adjust and accommodate from, I don't know if accommodate is the word I'm trying to use, but adjust to that reality that people said they were going to support me. People said they will be here. And they were to a certain degree until I started setting boundaries, till I started explaining that I needed more support. And it was so weird how I got gaslit for communicating that the way people were showing up was not, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. So if I got the abortion, I was going to be considered selfish and a baby killer and all of the things. But then when I'm like, y'all not doing enough, y'all not supporting me, y'all not here helping me out enough, I don't feel like I'm being supported the way I need to be. You the one got pregnant. You shouldn't have got pregnant. This is your responsibility. You're the mom. Bitch, chill. I know that. That's the point of me communicating what I'm communicating. Because I'm just really processing that. Because that really traumatized me to have people, basically, people want you to fail. People don't want you doing better than them. And failure is not necessarily a bad thing. Failure is a lesson. It's an opportunity to know what to do next time so you can succeed. So I wouldn't even just say people want you to fail. I would just say people don't want you to succeed further than them. People don't want you to achieve the unthinkable, because then they have to address their mediocrity, which you don't. You can say you can live your lame ass life. My success has no bearing on you, and if it do, then do what you gotta do, bitch. I don't know. But y'all, so it really hurt my feelings that so many of my family members and people who said they were going to be supportive to me just completely dropped the ball. And I was in, I don't know if a dark night of the soul, I don't know really what it was. I just was not having a good experience. My twins were going through so much early on in life, still going through a lot now. I'm going through a lot. And I was just trying to get my bearings. I want this to be a better experience. So it's so weird because, so when I had material support, financial support, people around me, I felt so freaking icky, depressed. Just, it was way more stressful and way more just mind-boggling than it is being by myself. Now, do I still get the stress and do I still have the emotional waves? Yes, but now it's not, I don't have an audience. I don't have people looking at me like I'm crazy or something's wrong. And I don't know how to really explain it, but you can just tell when people don't know how to mind their thoughts. If people don't know how to keep their frequencies closed off, and you pick up on a lot of things. So being myself just allows me to really sit with what's mine, really release what's not. And like I said, been around so many different energies and people, it's just too catastrophic for my nervous system. I was already taking care of my twins, and these people were wanting me to do stuff for them. I can barely do shit for myself. It was, to me, it felt like a humiliation ritual. Puppeteering a motherfucker, kicking a motherfucker while they already down. Oh my God, it was not the best experience, y'all. And I grieve for the version of me who had to survive that and couldn't have the postpartum experience that I believe I deserved. Had people been more genuine and not controlling. You hurting me. You don't even care. So I guess part of me wants to be able to sit with this stuff and to take it further. I didn't want to be alone so bad that I had to get pregnant, and now I'm never alone. I have children that I have to be with for the rest of my life. And that's not necessarily, I'm not like, woe is me saying that's a negative thing. I'm just saying, alchemize your shit. Deal with your shit before it has to be someone else's. Because had I just been able to sit with myself, I don't even think I would have been really involved with half of the men I was, or not in the way that I was, if I was able to really do the work that I'm doing. But now that I have kids, I have to fast track a lot of my healing, not from forcing myself to do something, but just like, my children don't deserve to be traumatized or harmed by shit that I haven't alchemized or gotten squared away for them. And I've already just feel like I can tell with just how they just sleep pattern and things that's going on with them that they're already here in this with me. So it's best that I go ahead and just do the work so that whenever I do got to address those shadows, I'm ready and I'm prepared and I'm capable of communicating to them in a way that is authentic and true. But I feel like a lot of this journey with my children is learning to love myself, learning to show grace to myself, learning to be responsible and accountable for not just myself, but for them. But also for myself, I don't want them around certain type of people. I don't want to date. I don't want to do certain things. And it was like, well, that you shouldn't have been around those people. You should have been exposed to that, not from just your parents doing it, but all of the things that you've done to your inner child. You shouldn't have. And I was at a place where you didn't love yourself, at a place you didn't know yourself, at a place where you were in survival and all you could do was think how to get to the next day, how to get to the next moment. And I have to sit with that and show grace to myself. And even in this situation where, because I was so lonely and I couldn't sit alone, I had to have someone next to me. And those people obviously were people who desired something from me. I couldn't be grounded in my own peace. I couldn't be grounded in the world that I was building for myself. And I couldn't see how great of an energy and a great of a thing that I was cultivating, but these individuals did, and they came and they got what they wanted, and I was left with a pregnancy and twins, and that's more than okay. But it's like, had I had the right intention, the situations would have been, I don't know what the situation would have been. I feel like they were what they are, but I have to be honest about my part. Of course, wanting stability, wanting partnership, wanting security, emotionally, financially, mentally, that companionship is not a bad thing. Don't ever let anybody guilt you for wanting that type of experience. But you don't need to want that at the expense of your sovereignty. And so my inability to not be alone is why I now have children, and I still have to do the work because they aren't here to make me whole, complete me, or I shouldn't be burdening them with my shit. So they still did it. Like, I still have to do the work. And so now I just have to do the work while taking care of them, which is a whole nother work in itself. And so I was just thinking about just trying to gain partnership and gain stability and build beyond just myself, when I should have just been building with myself and allowing divine to connect me to the people I should be connected to, and realizing that I'm not gonna say I forced a lot of things, but it's just 3 a.m, what we doing? If we not praying and meditating, then it ain't the right energy, baby. And that's just the truth. Unless that's your divine union, that's what y'all got going on. Okay? So a part of me knows that my children are a good thing in my life, but also know that they are a karmic thing. They are an extension of energies that I wasn't prepared to sit with at the time. And now I get to sit with them every day. That's all we're going to do for part 2. We might have to do a part 3 because I won't take care of my babies, but I will be back.